The Yankees are one game back of the best record in the American League, and they're not even at the top of their game just yet. So let's talk all things Yankees with Alex Wilson, co-host of the Fireside Yankees show and podcast. Alex, man, thanks for hopping on with this. Yankees did a little spring cleaning this weekend and brought the brooms out against Detroit. They're now 10 games above 500 for the first time this season. And a lot of people are saying they're not even playing their best baseball. So what are your thoughts on the season so far?
Well, Brandon, I appreciate you guys having me on again. And yeah, the Yankees are not playing their best baseball. They just swept the Detroit Tigers. And you look at kind of this team and the orientation of it, and you look at Aaron Judge struggling, Gleyber Torres struggling, no Gerrit Cole. This is a team that is not at full capacity. The fact that they're 10 games above 500, they're right there with the Baltimore Orioles at the top of the American League East. It's impressive. They're not firing on all cylinders, but when they are, you have to imagine this team can beat anyone in baseball. You have to imagine this team is capable of winning a World Series, and ultimately you see the flaws in this team. The infield defense has been a bit spotty. Some of their prominent hitters have been a bit off. Anthony Volpe being moved up to the leadoff spot. He's been a little bit off and trying to get accustomed to that new role. But so far you're seeing that even though this team is, kind of struggling with a few key players, they're still capable of winning a lot of games. And that's a really good sign because when they are firing on all cylinders, they're going to be unstoppable.
Well, you mentioned Gerrit Cole, so let's talk about the pitching. They've been surprisingly great, even without him in the lineup. In fact, that entire Yankees staff through 36 games has a 2.99 ERA, and that's without Cole. So what are your thoughts on the pitching so far? And the video of Gerrit Cole throwing off the mound for the first time in his rehab process.
Yeah, Gerrit Cole, he threw 15 pitches, averaging about 89 miles an hour on his fastball. That's a really good development. He's getting some velocity. They were all fastballs. So, you love to see that progress there. And the Yankees starting rotation has been solid. They've had a couple of key players step up. Luis Gil, their number 5 guy, kind of is working his way up that rotation now. I don't know what happens when Gerrit Cole returns, who kind of gets pushed out of here, but I don't know how you push Gil out at this point. His velocity on his fastball, you just can't touch him. He's filthy, his stuff. And you look at his complementary pitches, they're also really, really quality. Clark Schmidt's taken some steps forward. Nestor Cortez and Rodon have been solid, a little bit volatile at times. The bullpen has the best ERA in the game. How sustainable is that? We'll find out. They're going to get a couple of key guys down the road, back in Lou Trevino and Scott Efros and Tommy Kahnle. So a lot of support on the way, not to mention your AL Cy Young Award-winning pitcher from last year. The progress he's made has been tangible, palpable, any word you want to use. He's really making that progress to maybe return in June. We hope so. But the Yankees have the luxury, being a good team right now without him, they have the luxury of giving him as much time as necessary to get to 100% health and impact the rest of the season in a positive way.
You talk about hashtag good problem, like to be able to have a 2.99 collectively. And then Gerrit Cole's not even coming back to possibly mid-June. I mean, rewind to last year when we were talking about the pitching around this time. I got to get your thoughts on this one, man, because Aaron Judge, even though he kind of turned it on a little bit over the weekend, but have you hit the worry button on the slow start on Judge?
I don't think he can. I mean, he's been so good for the last couple of years. It's only fair to give him a month to say, you know what, I just wasn't very good. I'll take the 2 great years in the one little cold streak any day of the week. So, early on in the season, that's when you want to be shaking off the rust, getting rid of the bad juju, and ultimately you kind of look at his overarching quality. You just can't ignore it. The last 15 days, he's hitting 279, I believe, with a near 400 OBP. He's been excellent with 4 homers in that time span as well. Had a homer in the first inning yesterday. Aaron Judge is starting to pick up the pace, starting to see some pitches more. He's starting to get a little bit angry. I know he got ejected 2 days ago and bounced back yesterday with a home run in the first inning and, had a 2-hit performance. So you'd love to see that from Judge E. Obviously, that dynamic duo with him and Juan Soto at the top of the order, you just don't find combinations like that very often. When Judge is on his game, he is the best offensive player in the game. And then right above him, you have Juan Soto, who is red hot this season in a contract year. You just love to see it. Those 2 guys can carry an offense on their own. When Judge gets right and he's starting to get there, I don't know who any pitcher is going to be able to kind of dominate those guys. They're going to be really difficult to take down.
Well, you know this fan base really well. You think that Judge is feeling a little pressure because Juan Soto has come out and has just been absolutely balling the way he has? Like, when does the fan base going to be like, okay, Judge, now it's time for you to turn it on and play like Soto or play like the Aaron Judge that makes all that money?
It's interesting because I thought the same thing. I was like, Soto's kind of carrying this team right now. And was the guy the last 2 years to do that. And now he's kind of like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. Do I need to step up? What's my role? I think if the Yankees sign Soto long term, we're going to see a natural progression where Soto becomes the face of this franchise. But for now, Judge is that guy. He has a whole section of the bleachers carved out for him. So you look at kind of his confidence, and what I love about Judge is he's selfless. He loves the fact that Soto's producing. He loves the fact that other guys are stepping up while he's been struggling, because he knows he's going to get right at some point. So I do think that his confidence is, it's in full bloom. He's always a confident guy. He knows his qualities. He knows his talents. I don't think he feels any pressure from Soto. In fact, I think that he feels if Soto can help them win a championship, that's the ultimate goal. Win championships in New York. He's getting paid either way. Yep. So I think it always comes down to getting that ring.
Yeah, I think the ejection was good for him as well. Just
Me
be
too.
ticked off a little bit, be ticked off with yourself, the way everything's going. It's only a matter of time until greatness catches on and Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge again. What do you think should happen when Jasson Dominguez returns from injury over the summer? Aaron Boone did say that he's weeks away from a minor league assignment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. You look at Jasson Dominguez and what he did last year. Walks in 8 games, has 3 or 4 home runs, hits one off Justin Verlander. His talent is obvious. It's written all across the field. And, when he comes back, you have to ask yourself, who's the odd man out in this equation? Jasson Dominguez is a young player with tremendous athletic profile, really good hit tools. He's a switch hitter. He can do it all for you. Do you think about moving Giancarlo Stanton to the bench in this scenario? Stanton has been struggling a lot. He is extremely volatile. His numbers have been trending in the wrong direction for the better part of 3 years now. Do you ask yourself the question, if he's struggling for the majority of the season and Jasson Dominguez is fully healthy, does he start to steal some reps here and there from guys like Giancarlo Stanton? If they need a day off, if there's an injury, who supplements him? Do you want Jasson Dominguez or Trent Grisham? I'm probably going to opt for Jasson Dominguez in this instance because his offensive quality is just bar none to some of these other depth pieces, and Stanton struggles. And, at this point, I'm almost at the fence now where if Stanton doesn't have a good year, doesn't turn things around and have a consistent campaign, do they just consider eating that money and letting him go next year? Just cutting him, DFA him outright, and just move into the future with Spencer Jones and Jasson Dominguez as prominent pieces in your outfield? I think that is a conversation that we're probably going to have next offseason. But for now, if Stanton doesn't pick it up, I could see Jasson Dominguez eating into some of his reps. I think a lot of people would agree about that, though.
You talk about the pressure of performing. Like, look at the guys that you're mentioning. These are guys that could start and be legends anywhere else around Major League Baseball. But they got the young guys or the guy that's injured that's coming back that's threatening that spot. It's absolutely unreal. Competition at its finest. All right, so let's move on to the next series. They got Houston, and that series kicks off on Tuesday. What are your early thoughts on the Houston series?
Well, Houston is not the team that they were last year. They've been struggling to open the year a bit, but it's always an intense series against Houston. You always want to get right against them. I know the Yankees swept them in the first series of the season. This is a chance for Judge, so those big stars to show up against their pitching, and obviously they've still been missing Verlander, and they'll get some of their prominent pieces back. But it's always a good situation to beat the brakes off of the Houston Astros because it gives this Yankees team so much confidence. There's a lot of bad blood there. There's a lot of leftover emotion from the playoff exits and the early ejections from the postseason. You kind of look at what this does to fuel a Yankee team that wants to beat teams that have kind of had their number in recent years. The Rays being one of them, obviously Houston being another. I think this is an important series just for their confidence. I don't think that the Yankees should lose this series. I think they're a better team, but it's always good to get the better of Houston because it really does give you that little bit of juice and move you forward in the confidence in terms of dominating the rest of the season.
All right, Alex, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at Fireside Yankees on YouTube and across all platforms, Alex Wilson ESM on Twitter, and obviously Empire Sports Media, the website where we cover all the New York sports teams, and I appreciate the time.
All right, thanks for coming on, man.